The courtroom erupted the instant proceedings began. Tyler, convinced he was untouchable, stood before Judge Judy and sneered, "You're a monkey." The room went completely still. Conversations died mid-breath. Miguel dropped his gaze to the floor while the bailiff moved forward without hesitation. But Judge Judy didn't react. Not a blink, not a flinch. She simply fixed him with a slow, cutting stare, and the confidence drained straight from Tyler's face. What follows is the exact moment she shut down that kind of arrogance with absolute authority, and the consequences that came after were far harsher than he expected. The camera captures everything. Tyler lounges in his chair, arms stretched across the backrest, boots tapping in a mocking rhythm, a smug half-smile tugging at his lips. A low murmur rolls through the courtroom like distant thunder. Even the bailiff subtly shifts position, already anticipating trouble. Judge Judy lifts her eyes from the file in front of her, her expression set and unyielding. She doesn't need to speak, her silence alone tightens the atmosphere. But Tyler mistakes that silence for weakness. He tilts his chin upward, acting like he's bargaining at a street market instead of standing in a courtroom. Miguel Torres, the plaintiff, sits quietly at his table. His hands rest on a stack of documents, the edges bent from how tightly he's been gripping them. He glances briefly at Tyler, then quickly looks away. Judge Judy notices. Her eyes flick toward Miguel, then back to Tyler, already measuring the situation. "Let's begin," she says, her tone sharp and controlled. Miguel tries to speak, but Tyler cuts in. I'll start, because honestly, this whole thing is." Judge Judy raises a single finger. Tyler stops mid-sentence. "You will speak when you are addressed," she says. That's how this courtroom works. A quiet chuckle slips from Tyler, soft, but not soft enough. The camera zooms in, catching the subtle tightening of Miguel's jaw. He's heard that laugh before, and it never ends well. Judge Judy turns to Miguel. "Tell me why you're here." Miguel steadies himself. "Your Honor, Tyler Mr. Briggs damaged my car." Tyler scoffs loudly, not even attempting to hide it. The sound cuts through the room. Judge Judy doesn't fully turn yet, but the slight shift of her posture makes it clear she's noting every bit of disrespect. Miguel continues. "He broke the side mirror during an argument outside our apartment building and then refused to pay for the repairs." "That's because I didn't do anything wrong," Tyler shoots back, leaning forward. "He's exaggerating like always." "Mr. Briggs," Judge Judy interrupts, her voice now edged with steel. "I did not ask for your input." For a moment he freezes, but only briefly. His lips curl again as he mutters something under his breath. It's quiet, meant to go unnoticed, but the microphone catches it. So does she. The room falls silent. Judge Judy slowly raises her gaze. "Mr. Briggs," she says evenly, "repeat what you just said." The smirk on Tyler's face falters. Miguel holds his breath. Every person in the courtroom waits. Tyler shifts in his seat, his boots finally still. The confidence starts to crack. "I didn't say anything," he mutters, glancing around as if someone might support him. Judge Judy doesn't blink. "In this courtroom you speak clearly. If you're going to be disrespectful, you'll do it loud enough for everyone to hear." The tension sharpens instantly. Even the bailiff straightens. Miguel lowers his eyes, bracing for what's coming. Tyler inhales slowly, eyes darting around like he's searching for an exit. "I said..." He hesitates, jaw tightening. "I said they gave her a show." A ripple of shock moves through the courtroom. Judge Judy leans back slightly, completely composed. "I see. Thank you for clarifying." Her voice is calm but cold. "Let's continue before you embarrass yourself further." Tyler swallows, clearly thrown off by her restraint. "Mr. I.G. Torres," she continues, turning to Miguel, "show me the documents related to the repair." With a shaky breath, Miguel hands over a neat stack of papers to the bailiff. Tyler rolls his eyes, clearly irritated. "It's not even real damage," he mutters. "He's just trying to get money." Judge Judy hears him, but ignores it for now. The bailiff places the documents on the bench. She flips through them quickly, each page turning with deliberate precision. "This is a certified repair invoice," she says. "And you're refusing to pay?" "Yeah," Tyler replies, trying to regain his confidence. "Because I didn't break anything." Miguel leans forward. Your Honor, he grabbed the mirror during the argument. He pulled it so hard it snapped. That's a lie. Tyler snaps immediately. He always twists things to make himself look like the victim. Judge Judy places the papers down. Mr. Briggs, I've noticed you have a habit of interrupting. It's not a good one, and I suggest you correct it while you still can. A quiet murmur spreads through the courtroom. Tyler stiffens, his hands clenching beneath the table. The bravado flickers again, now edged with frustration. Miguel hesitates, then adds, "There's more, Your Honor. I submitted an envelope with screenshots." Tyler's head snaps toward him. "You did what?" Judge Judy raises an eyebrow. "Screenshots of what, Mr. Torres?" "Messages he sent me afterward," Miguel says, his voice quieter now. "Where he joked about the damage and other things." Tyler's jaw tightens. Judge Judy gestures to the bailiff. "Bring me the envelope." The bailiff steps away to retrieve it, leaving behind a heavy silence. Tyler inhales slowly, shoulders rising as he braces himself for what's about to come. Miguel keeps his eyes away from Tyler completely. As the bailiff returns, holding a sealed envelope, Tyler mutters under his breath, "This is going to be ridiculous." But the tension in his eyes tells a different story. The bailiff places the envelope on the bench in front of Judge Judy, as if it might explode at any second. Tyler's grin has vanished, replaced by a tight, restless jaw. Miguel sits motionless, as though even the slightest movement might set things off. Judge Judy studies the envelope in silence. The camera zooms in, catching the subtle rays of her brow interest. Suspicion, calculation all at once. She taps the edge lightly with her fingernail, the small sound echoing sharply through the room. "Mr. Torres," she says, "you submitted this earlier." Miguel nods. "Yes, Your Honor." "And what's inside is relevant to the damage." He hesitates. "It mostly shows his behavior afterward." Judge Judy glances over her glasses. Behavior often tells more truth than direct evidence. Then, without rushing, she breaks the seal. Tyler shifts in his seat, restless, uneasy, like someone watching everything he built start to crumble. "Those aren't real," he blurts out quickly. "He probably edited them." Miguel flinches, not at the accusation, but at the tone behind it. Judge Judy slides out several printed screenshots. The first page shows a message, thread-clear timestamps, familiar chat bubbles. As she reads, her expression tightens slightly, her lips forming a straight, firm line. She begins reading aloud. "Should have thought twice before crossing me." She flips to the next. "Hope that car was worth the lesson." Another. "Maybe next time you'll keep your mouth shut." A wave of reaction spreads across the courtroom, quiet gasps, shifting bodies, low murmurs. Miguel swallows hard. Tyler's face flushes, caught somewhere between anger and embarrassment. "They're jokes," Tyler snaps. "People talk like that. It's not serious." "Mr. Briggs," Judge Judy says, her voice calm but edged with danger, "does any of this look like a joke to you?" "Yeah," he fires back, lifting his chin. "You're just twisting everything I say, that's what you do." A sharp inhale moves through the room. Judge Judy straightens slightly. "I don't twist words," she replies. "I analyze them, and these messages are very clear." Tyler scoffs. "Anyone can fake texts. The timestamps match the night of the incident," she says without looking up. Then she turns to Miguel. "Were these sent immediately after the confrontation?" "Yes, Your Honor." She flips another page. This one shows a message followed by a winking emoji. "Bet you can't even afford to fix it." Her tone drops another degree. "So you damage his property, mock him, threaten him with a lesson, and then insult him financially." Tyler leans back, crossing his arms. He had it coming. He acts like he's better than everyone in the building. Miguel's jaw tightens, but he remains silent. Judge Judy looks toward him. "Mr. Torres, why didn't you present these earlier?" Miguel lowers his gaze. "I didn't want to escalate things." Her expression sharpens slightly, more focused now, but before she can respond, Tyler leans forward again, his voice dripping with sarcasm. "Oh, come on. He's milking this and you're just—" He stops. "But too late. You're just buying it like you always do." The courtroom freezes. Judge Judy's head lifts slightly, her eyes locking onto him. "Excuse me?" Tyler exhales, the smirk creeping back. You heard me. A ripple of shock moves through the audience. Miguel pales. Judge Judy sets the papers down with precise control, her voice low and steady. Mr. Briggs, you've just made a very serious error. She doesn't raise her voice. She doesn't need to. The cold authority in her tone shifts the entire room. Even the bailiff adjusts his stance. Tyler's confidence lingers for a moment, then begins to crack under her gaze. Mr. Briggs, she continues slowly, each word deliberate. Let me be absolutely clear. You are not in charge here. Show me that level of disrespect again, and you will not like the outcome. The camera closes in on Tyler. The swagger is still there, but fading, like a flame struggling to stay lit. He leans back, arms crossed tightly. Whatever, he mutters. I'm just saying what everyone else is thinking. No, Judge Judy replies. You're saying what you think, and what you think lacks discipline. A quiet murmur passes through the room, part disbelief, part admiration. Miguel watches silently, his shoulders finally lowering as if a weight has lifted. For the first time, he looks like he might actually be okay. Judge Judy turns back to the matter at hand. Mr. Torres, you mentioned a witness. Miguel nods. Yes, Your Honor, my neighbor, Mrs. Patel. She saw the argument and what he did to the mirror. Tyler lets out a scoff. Of course, bringing more people into it. Judge Judy ignores the remark entirely. She turns toward the bailiff. Please bring in the witness. The bailiff exits through a side door, leaving behind a low hum of tension. Anticipation mixes with unease. Tyler starts tapping his foot again. But now, it's not confidence. It's irritation. Miguel glances briefly in his direction, then looks forward again, shoulders tightening. He recognizes that sound all too well. The bailiff returns with Mrs. Patel, a small woman in her late 50s, clutching her purse close. Her eyes immediately find Miguel, offering a quiet, reassuring nod. But the moment she looks at Tyler, her expression shifts, color draining, posture stiffening, her grip trembling. Judge Judy notices instantly. Good morning, Mrs. Patel, she says, her tone calm but steady. Please take a seat. Mrs. Patel lowers herself into the witness chair. Good morning, Your Honor, she says softly, her voice barely carrying. Judge Judy leans forward slightly. Do you understand why you're here today? Yes, I saw what happened that night. Tyler smirks again, but it looks forced now, stretched thin over something uneasy. Mrs. Patel's hands tremble visibly. Mrs. Patel, Judge Judy continues gently, are you feeling nervous? A little, she admits quietly. Why? Her eyes flick toward Tyler for just a second, long enough to say everything. Tyler straightens in his seat, his smirk widening in a way that feels more like a warning than confidence. Judge Judy catches it, her expression sharpening. Mrs. Patel, she says, her voice now firm, you may speak freely here. You are safe in this courtroom. Do you understand? Mrs. Patel nods, but her gaze drops to her lap. Tyler leans back, stretching casually, putting on a show of ease meant for her to see. A silent signal. Judge Judy's eyes narrow slightly. Something isn't right. Mrs. Patel, she says, did Mr. Briggs speak to you before you enter this courtroom? The witness freezes. Tyler's smirk deepens just enough to be noticed. Mrs. Patel opens her mouth, but no words come. Tyler's boot taps again. Slow, deliberate. Judge Judy's voice lowers, controlled and serious. Mrs. Patel, what did he say to you? Mrs. Patel's hands twist tightly in her lap. Tyler leans back, watching with quiet satisfaction. Judge Judy doesn't move, her gaze fixed on the witness, steady and unrelenting. The room feels colder, the silence heavier. Mrs. Patel, Judge Judy says softly, I asked you a question. Did Mr. Briggs speak to you before entering my courtroom today? Mrs. Patel swallows. He just... She glances at Tyler again, her voice dropping. He said it would be better if I didn't make things dramatic. Judge Judy raises an eyebrow. Dramatic, she repeats. Interesting choice of words. Tyler scoffs loudly. Oh, come on, I didn't say anything. She's making this up because Miguel told her to. Mrs. Patel flinches at the sound of his voice. Judge Judy slowly turns her head toward him, her expression sharp and controlled. Mr. Briggs, do not speak unless you are addressed. Interrupt this witness again, and we will have a very different issue to deal with. Tyler snaps his mouth shut, though frustration flashes across his face. Judge Judy turns back to the witness. Let's begin from the start. Tell me what you observed on the night in question. Mrs. Patel takes a shaky breath. I was watering my plants on the balcony. Miguel and Tyler were arguing near the parking area. What did you see? Judge Judy asks, guiding her calmly. Tyler shifts abruptly in his chair, the sudden movement making Mrs. Patel jump. I saw Tyler grab the side mirror, she says, finally pushing the words out. He pulled it hard, very hard, and it snapped. A murmur spreads through the courtroom. Hearing it out loud changes everything. That's not true, Tyler blurts out. Judge Judy brings the gavel down once. Mr. Briggs, sit down. The sharp crack silences the room instantly. Tyler stiffens, jaw clenched, but he obeys. Mrs. Patel steadies her breathing and continues. Miguel tried to walk away, but Tyler followed him. He kept shouting, calling him names. Miguel lowers his eyes, a flicker of old embarrassment crossing his face. Judge Judy's tone softens slightly, though the firmness remains. Mrs. Bidrold, Patel, did Mr. Briggs say anything directly to you that night? Mrs. Patel grips her purse tighter. He told me to mind my own business when he saw me watching. Tyler lets out a smirk, as if it was never her place to get involved. Judge Judy snaps her head toward him instantly. That is not your decision to make. Mrs. Patel looks back and forth between them, her heartbeat almost visible in her chest. Then she adds, barely louder than a whisper, and when I came in today, he said if I made a fuss, he'd remember it. A sharp wave of shock moves through the room. Miguel looks disturbed, but not surprised. Tyler, on the other hand, looks angry, defensive rather than regretful. Judge Judy's expression turns icy. Mr. Briggs, threatening a witness is a very serious matter. Tyler leans forward quickly. It wasn't a threat, I was just talking. People twist everything I say. His voice cracks slightly, not from fear, but from panic hidden behind frustration. Judge Judy studies him closely, reading past his tone, catching the slight tremor he's trying to conceal. Then she turns to the bailiff. Is the next witness here? Yes, Your Honor. Waiting outside. Miguel stiffens, clearly recognizing who it might be. Tyler's confidence slips for just a second. Judge Judy folds her hands. Good. We'll hear from them shortly. Mrs. Patel exhales shakily, relieved to be nearly finished. Tyler's knee starts bouncing uncontrollably. Judge Judy narrows her eyes and asks, Mrs. Patel, what exactly did he say before you entered this courtroom? The room freezes again. Mrs. Patel's lips tremble, torn between fear and obligation. Tyler's foot taps faster, now no longer confident, just anxious. Judge Judy leans forward slightly, calm but intense. The silence is absolute. Mrs. Patel takes a shaky breath. He told me. If you make a scene in there, I'll make one outside. Her voice breaks. And, the way he said it, he meant it. A ripple of quiet shock spreads through the audience. Judge Judy's eyes sharpen. Mr. Briggs, do you deny saying that? Tyler jerks forward. Obviously she's twisting my words. I just told her not to exaggerate. Threatening a witness is not casual conversation, Judge Judy cuts in, and I decide what qualifies as exaggeration in this courtroom. Tyler drops back into his chair, jaw clenched. This is ridiculous, but the flicker in his eyes says otherwise. He didn't expect Mrs. Patel to speak up. Miguel shifts slightly, gripping the edge of his folder tighter. Judge Judy notices. She always does. Something subtle changes in her expression. Not sympathy recognition. This kind of fear doesn't come from a single moment. Mrs. Patel, Judge Judy says gently, Thank you. You may step down. Mrs. Patel rises with visible relief, but the way she avoids even glancing at Tyler speaks volumes. This wasn't the first time he made her feel unsafe. As she leaves, Judge Judy turns back to Miguel. Mr. Gell, Torres, has Mr. Briggs ever spoken to you in a similar way? Miguel hesitates. He opens his mouth, then closes it, swallowing hard. "Your Honor, he's always loud," Tyler scoffs. "Oh, please, quiet." Judge Judy doesn't raise her voice, but it lands with authority. Miguel continues, eyes fixed downward. "Yeah, he cornered me once in the parking garage. Asked if I wanted to make this bigger than it was. I didn't report it. I didn't want to escalate things." Judge Judy's face becomes still, like a lens sharpening focus. "Mr. Torres, intimidation is not escalation, it is abuse." Tyler lets out a short, defensive laugh. "You're all acting like I'm some kind of villain. Miguel always plays scared." Miguel's jaw tightens. The fear in his eyes shows the comment hit exactly where it was meant to. Judge Judy turns to Tyler. "Mr. Briggs, this is not a playground. You do not get to intimidate your neighbors, threaten witnesses, and then pretend innocence." She pauses, her gaze cutting straight through him. "That is not confidence. That is cowardice." A murmur moves through the gallery. Tyler's face reddens instantly. "You don't know anything about me." "I know exactly what you've shown me," Judge Judy replies coldly. "What you've shown so far is deeply troubling." The tension rose so thick it feels like the entire room is holding its breath. Then Judge Judy shifts her tone. "Bailiff, please bring in the hallway footage from the courthouse cameras this morning." Tyler's posture snaps upright. "What footage?" Judge Judy barely looks at him. "The footage showing your interaction with Mrs. Patel." Whispers spread quickly. Footage means proof, and proof leaves no room for excuses. Miguel looks up, surprised, maybe even hopeful. Tyler swallows hard. That doesn't show anything. We'll let the video speak for itself," Judge Judy says. The bailiff steps out to retrieve it. Tyler's confidence drains with every passing second. Judge Judy sits still, fingers steepled, waiting with the patience of someone who already knows the truth won't favor him. The lights dim slightly as a monitor is brought into the center of the courtroom. Tyler's breathing shifts quick, shallow. Judge Judy doesn't react at all. The bailiff connects the feed, and the screen flickers from static to a dull, grainy hallway. A faint electronic hum fills the courtroom, like a second pulse. The camera angle widens just enough to catch Tyler shifting in his seat, restless now, suddenly aware of how small he looks beside the towering screen. "Play it," Judge Judy orders. The footage begins. A date stamp, a time stamp, a courthouse hallway early in the morning. Miguel sits upright, eyes fixed on the screen. Mrs. Patel stands near the exit, quietly wiping her palms against her dress. Even the audience leans forward without realizing it. Then Tyler appears. He walks in with the same swagger he carried into court. He spots Mrs. Patel and moves toward her. On screen, she stiffens immediately, clutching her purse like protection. Then it happens. Tyler steps directly into her path. Not openly aggressive, no raised hand, but deliberate enough that she can't pass without brushing against him. There's no sound through the speakers, but the message is clear. He leans in, gestures toward the courtroom doors, then smirks. A ripple of unease spreads across the room. Miguel's jaw tightens. Mrs. Patel lowers her gaze again. Judge Judy watches without moving. Tyler tries to break the silence, his voice cracking slightly. That's nothing. That's literally nothing." No response. Judge Judy keeps her eyes on the screen. At her request, the bailiff rewinds the clip and plays it again in slow motion. Now, every detail stands out: the subtle flinch from Mrs. Patel, the angle of Tyler's shoulders, the way he steps into her space, the pointed finger raised inches from her face. The image says everything. Tyler shifts sharply in his chair. "You're exaggerating it. I didn't even touch her." "Intimidation doesn't require contact," Judge Judy says evenly. "It requires intent." Her tone cuts through the room. The footage ends with Tyler walking away, shaking his head in irritation. Mrs. Patel remains still for several seconds before finally moving, her hesitation captured clearly. The screen fades to black. Silence follows. Judge Judy turns her attention back to Tyler. "Mr. Briggs, this video reflects behavior consistent with the witness's testimony." Tyler snaps. "You don't know what I said. There's no audio." "You're all just guessing." His voice echoes sharply through the courtroom. Judge Judy lifts her chin slightly. You seem very concerned about what might be heard. She glances toward the bailiff. Do we have the enhanced audio? Tyler's head whips toward the bailiff, panic flashing across his face. Miguel inhales sharply. Yes, Your Honor. Technicians were able to isolate part of the conversation. Tyler freezes. Judge Judy gestures to the screen. Then let's hear it. The lights dim slightly. The speakers crackle. Just before the audio begins, Tyler mutters under his breath, barely audible to Miguel. This is nonsense, but his voice falters. He knows what's coming. Miguel glances at him, tension flickering beneath his composure. Then he speaks up quietly. There's also a statement from someone else, he threatened. A hush falls over the room. Tyler's face loses color. From a former neighbor, Miguel adds. Judge Judy leans back slightly, interest sharpening. Clerk, bring me that additional statement. The clerk quickly retrieves a thin file from the evidence table and places it in front of her. Tyler mutters under his breath. You've got to be kidding me. His chest rises and falls too quickly now, panic fully setting in. Judge Judy opens the folder with steady precision. I think it's time we reviewed your history, Mr. Briggs. All of it. She lifts the slim file as if it carries significant weight. Tyler watches it like a closing trap. Miguel straightens, bracing himself. Judge Judy opens it. Only a few pages inside, but they feel heavier than any stack of documents. She reads, her expression shifting from neutral curiosity to something colder. Mr. Briggs, she begins. This statement comes from a prior small claims case filed against you last year. Tyler stiffens. It was dismissed. Yes. Judge Judy replies calmly. It also notes that the plaintiff withdrew unexpectedly after receiving several late-night visits from you. A wave of shock ripples across the courtroom. Miguel's breathing stutters while Mrs. Patel presses her hand against her chest. Tyler lets out a dry, forced chuckle, thin and unconvincing. Cases get dropped all the time, he mutters. Maybe the guy realized he was wrong. Judge Judy narrows her gaze. Or maybe he realized he was afraid. She turns another page. Here's another one from 2 years earlier. Different neighbor, different complaint, same result. Withdrawn. Her tone sharpens. And the reason listed? Too frightened to proceed. Tyler jerks back in his chair. That doesn't prove anything. Anyone can write whatever they want in those reports. What matters, Judge Judy replies evenly, is the pattern, and it aligns perfectly with what we've witnessed here today. A tense murmur spreads through the room. Cameras focus tightly on Tyler's flushed face, his anger, beginning to crack into something more exposed, something closer to fear. Miguel draws in a slow breath. This is what he's been waiting for, the realization that what he went through wasn't just his burden to carry, that others had faced the same behavior before him. Judge Judy continues, her voice steady but cutting. Mr. Briggs, your conduct today is troubling on its own, but your past paints a far more serious picture than a simple dispute over a damaged mirror. Tyler snaps back. You're overreacting. Just stop. Her response lands like a strike. When multiple individuals abandon their cases because of you, that is not overreaction. That is intimidation. Miguel keeps his eyes locked on Tyler. There's something unsettling in the way Tyler's jaw tightens, the rapid tapping of his foot echoing faintly against the floor. The confidence he walked in with is wearing thin. Judge Judy taps the file lightly. Mr. Torres, were you aware of these previous incidents when you filed your complaint? Miguel shakes his head. No, I only found out about one of them recently. That's why I included the statement. And why didn't you bring it up sooner? Miguel hesitates, shoulders dipping slightly. I didn't want it to look like I was piling things on. I just wanted the damage repaired. I didn't want to involve anyone else. Judge Judy studies him carefully, not with doubt, but with a sense that there's more beneath the surface, something he hasn't fully said yet. Tyler suddenly leans forward, his voice sharp. You're all acting like I'm some kind of criminal. Those people were just weak. I didn't break any laws. A collective gasp fills the room. Judge Judy's eyebrows lift slowly, dangerously. Weak, she repeats. That's how you describe the people you intimidate? Tyler opens his mouth, but no words come out. For the first time, his confidence collides with consequences and falters. Judge Judy leans back, folding her arms. Mr. Briggs, one of your former plaintiffs, has agreed to address the court today. Tyler goes still. What? The side door opens and a young man steps in, early 20s, tense posture, eyes shadowed by past fear. Miguel recognizes him instantly. Tyler's face drains of color. Judge Judy speaks with quiet authority. Mr. Ree, please step forward. Daniel Ree enters like someone crossing a line he once swore never to approach again. Tyler's body stiffens while Judge Judy watches both men with the steady focus of someone about to uncover the truth. Daniel moves toward the stand slowly, hands clenched, shoulders tight. He isn't hesitant, he's carrying the weight of what he's been through. Each step is driven by determination, not comfort. Miguel watches him closely, recognizing that same look the mark left behind by Tyler Briggs. Good morning, Mr. Ree, Judge Judy says. Daniel gives a small nod. Good morning, Your Honor. Tyler lets out a quiet scoff under his breath. Judge Judy doesn't even glance his way. Mr. Ree, I understand you previously brought a case against Mr. Briggs. Daniel settles into the chair, his throat tightening. Yes, I did. And you later withdrew that case. A pause stretches. Daniel inhales slowly. Yes, Your Honor. Why? He swallows, voice unsteady. Because I couldn't sleep. I couldn't walk to my car without constantly checking behind me. I couldn't deal with him showing up near my place late at night. A chill seems to pass through the courtroom. Tyler suddenly blurts out, I never showed up anywhere. He's making that up. Judge Judy's voice cuts in sharply. Mr. Briggs, not another word. Daniel's eyes flick briefly toward Tyler, just a second, but enough for everyone to see it. The fear, the memory, the truth behind it. Judge Judy softens slightly. Tell me exactly what happened. Daniel exhales shakily. It started after I filed the complaint. He came to my door twice in 1 week, both times around midnight. Miguel lowers his gaze, recognizing those moments all too well. Daniel continues. He told me things like, drop it, or you're wasting your time, or don't make me come back. And he'd smile when he said it, like it was some kind of joke. The camera catches Tyler's expression of unease creeping through his attempt to stay composed. And, did you report this? Judge Judy asks. I did, Daniel says, nodding, but I told him not to escalate it. I thought if I backed off, he'd leave me alone. Judge Judy taps her pen lightly. So you abandoned your case out of fear? Daniel nods again. Yes, Your Honor. Tyler snaps, his voice rising. He's exaggerating. I never threatened anyone. Judge Judy tilts her head slightly. Mr. Jurgler, Briggs, multiple individuals who have no connection to each other are making similar claims about you. That alone speaks volumes. Tyler's jaw tightens, his eyes burning with frustration. Daniel grips the sides of his chair, his hands trembling. I didn't want to come here today. But when Miguel contacted me, I realized I couldn't stay silent again. I didn't want someone else to go through what I did. Miguel looks down, overwhelmed finally. Someone else understands. Judge Judy takes a measured breath before addressing Daniel. Your testimony is important, Mr. Ree. Thank you. Daniel nods faintly. I just wanted it to stop. Judge Judy acknowledges him with a small nod. You may step down. Daniel rises, but as he passes Tyler, a low, bitter word slips out. Snitch. Judge Judy hears it. So does everyone else. Stop. Her voice halts Daniel mid-step. The room tightens instantly. Tyler looks like he's just made a serious mistake. Judge Judy's tone drops, quiet but razor-sharp. Mr. Melder, Briggs, did you just attempt to intimidate a witness in my courtroom? Daniel freezes, his shoulders tensing as if the words struck him physically. Tyler remains still, realizing too late that it wasn't missed. Judge Judy's stare sharpens, calm, controlled, and precise. The entire room falls silent. Mr. Briggs, she says softly, stand up. Tyler blinks. What? Why? Because when you mutter insults or threats in my courtroom, you stand while I address them. A low murmur spreads through the audience. Miguel holds his breath. Mrs. Patel covers her mouth. Daniel stares down at the floor, instinctively shrinking inward. Slowly, reluctantly, Tyler rises. Judge Judy continues, her voice steady and deliberate. Did you, or did you not, call that witness a snitch as he walked past you? Tyler's jaw tightens. It wasn't like that. Answer the question. It wasn't a threat, he says, his voice cracking now. It was just, I don't know, a comment. A comment meant to degrade, to diminish, to intimidate. Judge Judy replies, tapping her finger lightly. Patterns, Mr. Briggs, you're becoming very predictable. Tyler swallows hard. His confidence is slipping fast. Judge Judy turns back to Daniel. Mr. Ree, you may return to your seat. Daniel nods gratefully and moves to the gallery, his shoulders still tense. Miguel watches him sit, seeing his own fear reflected in every movement. Mr. Torres, Judge Judy says, shifting her attention, her tone carrying weight, you seemed surprised when I asked whether Mr. Briggs had ever directly threatened you. Why is that? Miguel's throat tightens. He glances briefly at Tyler just long enough to reveal what he's been holding back. Judge Judy notices immediately. Mr. Torres, look at me, not at him. Miguel steadies himself. Your Honor, I wasn't completely honest earlier. Tyler's head jerks. What now? Judge Judy ignores him. Go on, Mr. Torres. Miguel twists the papers in his hands. The night of the mirror wasn't the only time he confronted me. The courtroom leans forward, drawn in by the weight of what's coming next. Miguel continues, his voice tight with tension. A week later, Miguel continues. He followed me back to my building. I tried to ignore him, but he sped up and got in front of my door before I could close it. Tyler rolls his eyes. Oh, come on, be quiet. Judge Judy snaps immediately, without even looking at him. Miguel swallows hard and continues. He started pounding on the door really hard. He yelled that I was asking for trouble, and that people like me should know better. The words hang in the air, loaded, deliberate, and unsettling. A ripple of discomfort spreads through the courtroom. Judge Judy leans back slightly, her expression tightening with controlled anger. Mr. Torres, why wasn't this included in your original complaint? Miguel hesitates, voice breaking. Because I didn't want to look scared. Her expression softens just a fraction. But you were. Miguel nods, ashamed. Tyler scoffs again, but this time it sounds empty. He's lying. He's trying to make me look like some psycho. Judge Judy turns toward him, voice calm but burning. Mr. Briggs, no one needs to make you look like anything. You're doing that quite well on your own. Tyler shuts his mouth. She turns back to Miguel. Thank you for telling the truth. Miguel exhales, as if releasing something he's carried for months. But Judge Judy isn't finished. She flips to another page in the file, something she hasn't revealed yet. Mr. Bivimesum Torres, she says quietly. There is something else I need you to clarify. Miguel stiffens. In your statement to building security, you included an additional detail. Something said at your door that night. Tyler's face shifts just slightly, but enough. Judge Judy continues, steady and precise. Something personal. Something that made you fear more than just damage to your property. Miguel closes his eyes for a moment. Yes, Your Honor. What did he say? The entire courtroom leans in. The silence tightens. Tyler's breathing becomes uneven. Miguel tries to speak, but the words catch in his throat. Judge Judy leans forward slightly, eyes narrowing. Tyler's fists clench. The tension peaks, as Miguel finally forces it out. He said, people like you should watch their backs. You don't belong here. A stunned silence crashes through the room. Mrs. Patel gasps, one hand rising to her chest. Daniel flinches, recognizing the same kind of threat he once faced. Even the bailiff's jaw tightens. Tyler shakes his head rapidly. That's not what I meant. He's twisting it. Judge Judy's gaze locks onto him. Then explain it. What exactly did you mean when you told him he didn't belong in his own home? Tyler stammers. I meant he doesn't belong in my business. That's all. But you followed him, she replies, voice razor sharp. You blocked his door. You yelled threats. You collared him at his apartment and then hid behind vague wording to excuse it. Tyler says nothing. Miguel speaks again, quieter now. I didn't include it before because I didn't want to look weak. I didn't want to be the person always complaining. Judge Judy studies him for a long moment. Strength is not silence, Mr. Torres. Strength is speaking the truth despite fear. Miguel lowers his head, eyes wet but controlled. The room feels heavier now, not just tense, but serious in a different way. This is no longer about a broken mirror. Something deeper has surfaced. Tyler's behavior isn't just aggression. It's calculated intimidation, personal targeting, and repeated psychological pressure. Judge Judy turns back. Mr. Torres, tell me what happened after he pounded on your door. Miguel's voice comes out small. I called building security, Miguel continues. They said they would send someone, but by the time they arrived, he was already gone. Did they file a report? Judge Judy asks. Yes, but I asked them not to escalate it. I didn't want to make him more angry. A heavy silence settles over the room. All eyes drift toward Tyler. He suddenly looks smaller, as if the weight of everything being said is finally pressing down on him. Judge Judy raises an eyebrow. Mr. Briggs, do you understand what your actions led to? You made another adult afraid to enter his own home. Tyler's voice comes out faint. He's exaggerating. Judge Judy brings the gavel down, once sharp, final. The sound cracks through the courtroom like a shockwave. That is enough. The entire room stiffens. You have intimidated multiple neighbors, she continues. There is a documented pattern of using threats, tone, and presence to silence people. And you brought that same behavior into my courtroom as if intimidation is acceptable anywhere. Tyler's breathing quickens. His foot starts tapping uncontrollably, now no longer confident, just anxious and exposed. Miguel wipes his palms on his jeans, trying to steady himself. Judge Judy gives him a small nod, quiet reassurance that his testimony matters. Then she turns to the bailiff. Bring me the building security report, the one tied to Mr. Torres's complaint. Tyler jolts. What? Why? Because, she replies calmly, I want the complete picture before I make my ruling. The bailiff exits, and the courtroom falls into a tense silence. Tyler sinks deeper into his chair, whatever defiance he had left slowly collapsing. Miguel exhales shakily, bracing himself for what's coming next. Judge Judy's voice remains steady, almost cold. We are not finished yet, Mr. Briggs. The bailiff returns with a folded report. Tyler stiffens instantly, like someone waiting for a sentence he already fears is coming. The document is handed over. Judge Judy opens it slowly, deliberately scanning every line with surgical focus. Mr. Briggs, she begins. This security report confirms Mr. Torres's statement. He was seen following him into the hallway at 11:42 p.m., shouting aggressively, and he appeared visibly frightened. Tyler sinks lower in his seat. The last pieces of his confidence continue to fall apart. It also states, she continues, that when security arrived, you left quickly, and when asked about it later, you said, quote, I was just reminding him how things work around here. Miguel closes his eyes. Mrs. Patel shakes her head in disbelief. Daniel's jaw tightens. Tyler suddenly snaps. That wasn't a threat. You're twisting everything I said. Judge Judy doesn't react to the outburst. Mr. Dole. Briggs, she says calmly, dangerously steady. 3 separate witnesses have described feeling intimidated by you. That is not coincidence. That is a pattern. Tyler's face tightens. Everyone's acting like I'm some kind of villain. Miguel started all of this. He made it bigger than it was. Miguel flinches but holds his ground. Judge Judy leans forward, her stare locking onto him. No, you made it bigger. Her voice hardens. Every single step. Tyler opens his mouth, but she raises a finger. Silence falls instantly. You escalated a simple disagreement into property damage, then into harassment, then into repeated intimidation, then following someone to their home, then threatening witnesses, and now disrespecting this court. Tyler's breathing turns shallow and fast. His foot taps erratically under the table, no longer control, just panic. Miguel watches him, something shifting in his expression. Not satisfaction, not revenge. Relief. The realization that his voice is finally being taken seriously. Judge Judy turns back to Tyler. You've used fear as a tool. Her tone softens slightly, but it carries more weight. But fear is not strength. She pauses. Bullies often confuse intimidation with power, but real power requires responsibility. Tyler's voice breaks as he speaks. I didn't mean to scare anyone. I didn't want people messing with me. Judge Judy watches him steadily. And why, she asks calmly, did you assume they were trying to? Tyler blinks, caught off guard. A heavy pause follows. Because that's how it's always been, he admits finally. People push you, and if you don't push back harder, you get stepped on. It isn't a justification. It's an admission raw and unfiltered. Judge Judy nods slowly, not in approval, but in understanding of what she's hearing. You didn't just push back, she says. You pushed down, and that is where you crossed the line. The words land like a final weight, collapsing his defenses. Tyler sinks into his chair, shoulders dropping, eyes fixed downward. There is no dramatic reaction, just quiet defeat. The realization settling in that he is not untouchable. Judge Judy glances at the clock and taps her pen once. We will take a short recess, she announces. I need to review the final details before I deliver my decision. The gavel strikes. Tyler stares blankly at the table. As the courtroom begins to clear, Miguel sits in silence, wondering whether justice is finally close, or whether something worse is still coming after the break. After recess, the doors open, and a heavy silence returns with the room. Tyler walks back in with his shoulders lowered, his posture no longer defiant. Judge Judy takes his seat with calm precision, adjusting her glasses before looking directly at him. Not angry, just certain, like everything has already been decided by the facts. Mr. Briggs, she begins, her voice steady, this court has heard sufficient testimony and reviewed enough evidence to form a clear understanding of your behavior. Tyler swallows hard. His leg trembles faintly beneath the desk. Miguel watches carefully, holding his breath. In the gallery, Daniel and Mrs. Patel lean forward, both needing to see the outcome unfold. Judge Judy continues, we are not dealing with a single mistake. We are dealing with a pattern: intimidation, harassment, and emotional coercion. Tyler opens his mouth to respond, but no words come. The fight has drained out of him. You've harassed neighbors, she says, holding the file steady, followed them, threatened them, mocked them, and intimidated them. And when confronted, you attempted to bring that same behavior into this courtroom. Her tone sharpens. Let me be absolutely clear, bullying does not work here. A low murmur moves through the audience. Tyler stares down at his hands. He no longer looks like the confident man who entered with arrogance. Now he looks like someone seeing himself clearly for the first time, and not liking what he sees. Miguel shifts slightly, gathering courage he didn't think he had left. Judge Judy notices immediately. Mr. Torres, she says gently. Miguel looks up. Yes, Your Honor. You have shown restraint, she says, and carried fear that no one should have to live with in their own home. Miguel's eyes water slightly, but he nods. She turns back to Tyler. You created that fear. Tyler flinches not from anger, but from the truth hitting him directly. Judge Judy exhales slowly. Before I deliver my ruling, Mr. Briggs, do you have anything to say? A long silence follows. Tyler opens his mouth, closes it, then tries again. His voice finally breaks. I didn't realize it was all like that. I thought if I didn't act first, people would walk all over me. Judge Judy shakes her head. Fear is not strength, and intimidation is not protection. Those are excuses and harmful ones. Tyler blinks rapidly. Something in his expression shifts guilt, or the realization that his way of surviving has caused damage to others. Judge Judy continues, calm but firm. None of that changes the harm that has been done. She folds her hands on the bench. The entire room leans in. In a moment, she says, I will deliver my ruling. It will cover financial damages, harassment, and your behavior inside this courtroom. Tyler's breath catches in his throat. Miguel grips the edge of the table tightly. Mrs. Patel whispers under her breath, almost like a prayer. And Mr. Briggs, Judge Judy adds, her tone turning colder, what comes next will not stay confined to this courtroom. She raises the gavel slowly, deliberately. The entire room tenses as Tyler squeezes his eyes shut. Here is my decision. The gavel comes down with a sharp final strike. Silence follows immediately. No movement, no sound, just stillness. Judge Judy begins, calm and precise. First, regarding property damage, Mr. Briggs, you're responsible for the destruction of Mr. Torres's side mirror. You will pay the full repair amount of $4,385. Tyler gives a faint nod. Barely noticeable, but it's there. But she continues. Second, she says, your actions on the night of the incident and in the following weeks constitute harassment and intimidation. This court is imposing additional civil penalties. Miguel exhales shakily. You will also pay Mr. Torres an additional $2,200 for emotional distress directly caused by your conduct. Tyler's eyes widen. What? Quiet, she cuts in sharply. You've spoken enough. He shuts his mouth immediately. She closes the file. Third, your treatment of witnesses in this courtroom. Mrs. Patel and Mr. Ree was inappropriate and unacceptable. While I cannot bring criminal charges, I will be forwarding a detailed report to the network's legal department and local authorities. Tyler stiffens. This lands harder than any fine. That report, she continues evenly, will include hallway footage, audio recordings, and your behavior during this proceeding. Miguel's eyes widen slightly. Mrs. Patel exhales, visibly relieved. Daniel lowers his head, tension finally breaking. Tyler tries to speak again, but his words fall apart. You're reporting me. I am, Judge Judy replies firmly. Because intimidation does not end when a case ends. If it is not addressed, it repeats. Tyler looks down, silent now, completely deflated. For the first time, the full weight of everything he's done seems to land on him at once. And lastly, she says, leaning forward slightly, you will apologize to Mr. Torres, not for me, for him. A long pause. Miguel doesn't look up. He doesn't push. The courtroom waits. Finally, Tyler speaks, voice cracked and fragile. Miguel, I'm sorry. It's uneven and imperfect, but it's real. Miguel nods once, eyes moist. Thank you. Judge Judy straightens, expression steady. Not satisfied by the apology alone, but by the truth finally spoken. This court is adjourned. The gavel falls one final time. The sound echoes through the room final. Absolute. The room final. Absolute. Miguel exhales deeply, as if releasing something he's carried for years. Mrs. Patel gives a small, relieved smile. Daniel sits a little straighter. Tyler remains seated, staring down at the floor. No defiance, no smirk. Just silence and consequence. As the courtroom empties, Judge Judy gathers her files and pauses briefly before leaving, casting one last steady look toward Tyler, a quiet reminder that authority doesn't need volume. It only needs certainty.